Often preach the reason why they need a VMC and why you need good coordinators is because you are not going to change the vendor. We're relying on the one person that's doing the work, that only wants to do the work, to give us all this other information. It's not going to happen. You need to have an approach that's like vendor friendly.
You have to make a shift from we're going to be having this like iron fist
For
and
the
telling
vendors.
what's up versus find the vendors who are the best at performing the actual work and then put systems and people in place to augment the communication failures that those vendors are likely going to have. Mind shift, it's a contractor's market right now. If you want to find the best contractors, the most cost-effective contractors, they're not going to be the easiest to work with. Okay, so that's 250 work orders a month times $500 average invoice is basically gross spending of $125,000, right? Of that $125,000, 25 grand's markup. It still only takes one VMC to manage those 250 work orders, and you'd be saving $21,400 if you paid $3,600 to hire a VMC. That's crazy. That's $250,000 a year.
We often preach the reason why they need a VMC and why you need good coordinators is because you are not going to change the vendor. We are relying on the vendor to give us we're relying on the one person that's doing the work, that only wants to do the work, to give us all this other information. It's not going to happen. So you need to have an approach that's like vendor friendly. Your approach needs to be with the idea that this person's trying to get work done and assume they're doing the work. Because if you hire a vendor that doesn't have a back office, you could call the office and talk to this Cheryl and she can reach out to the technician. Those people quickly become national providers and then you're back to where you were from the beginning. So your approach really needs to be not more of how do I get vendors to do what I ask them to do? How do I create an environment where I can get information from my vendors convenient for them so that I can get the information? You have to make it simple.
You're saying you have to make a shift from we're going to be having this like iron fist
for
and
the
telling
vendors.
the vendors what's up versus find the vendors who are the best at performing the actual work and then put
communicate,
systems and
obviously,
people in place to augment the communication failures that those vendors are likely going to have.
They're going to have them. Even the best vendor in the world otherwise, they're a national provider. If you have somebody that's calling you every day and giving you an update on your work order, you probably have a national provider. You don't have a local person. A local person is doing, and you're paying for that information. So you need to create with your VMCs and when we're sitting down, like we talked last month, we were talking about training your VMC. Give your VMC the mindset you're going to have to call. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Get to know these. Get rapport. Teach the person that's the coordinator level that has to contact these people how to build relationships with these vendors so that you know what to expect. Oh, hey, I'll talk to Tim tomorrow morning when he's on the way to the hardware store. I know it. I'll get that information. I don't have it right now, but he'll call me on his way to the hardware store. I remember when I was like in the mud doing this stuff, you remember Jimmy? I would call Jimmy. I knew I had a standing conversation with Jimmy. Took 10 minutes. He was going to give me an update on all 6 work orders that he was working on. And I would talk to him tomorrow, same time. And I knew that I had to remind him, invoice. But he gave me the best price. The work was done. The store liked him, right? He's a local guy, so I'm paying local prices. I'm not paying him plus another guy plus the desk guy. It's not so much how do I train my vendors to do what I need them to do? It's how do I train my coordinators at the coordinator level to create a relationship, which I can get that information and get it streamlined. It takes relationship building. The iron fist isn't going to work for some of these contractors because they'll just go to the store direct like they were or not do work with you. They'll just, you know what I mean?
So you're saying mind shift. It's a contractor's market right now. If you want to find the best contractors, the most cost-effective contractors, they're not going to be the easiest to work with. Not that there's a problem with them. It's just that your systems and their systems are incompatible. And so you need to build systems and to work with their systems. And a lot of that has to be a human interface at this point. So virtual maintenance coordinator or a maintenance coordinator, hiring extra people for your team could make sense. It reminds me of this calculator I created a while ago because we had this thesis that it sounds so fancy and nerdy. Our idea was that you should look at your top trades where you're spending the most amount of money and do like an audit. How many internal contractors, how many national contractors versus self-performers you're using. And you want to find trades where there's like a high degree of national, like aggregator type folks. So we worked up this this calculator, right? So
Mhm.
if you all right, so let's say for example, you find a trade where every single month there are 250 work orders, all right? And let's say that average invoice is $500, okay? Now, what do you think's like a what do you think's the normal markup? So a national
25%,
aggregator hires a local contractor
25%
and what is
minimum,
it?
25% minimum. I guarantee it. Like
Yeah, okay.
I'd
Well,
be willing to bet if you talk to anybody, they're putting 25% on it because by the time they pay incidentals and coverage and the person on the phone, the business might be clearing 15%.
all right, let's say they mark up a local contractor's invoice by 12.5%. We know that's low, but let's just
Yeah,
say that's the
let's be
case. Okay.
conservative.
So we have 250 work orders. The average invoice is $500. Let's see here. We'll sell the average invoice 350, right?
Yeah.
It's probably more than that. Okay. Let me see if this is doing this
I mean, I feel
correctly.
like a $350 NT is pretty standard.
Yeah, so every single month you're going to be spending 250 times 350, you're spending 87,500 on that trade. Okay. The amount of markup, so I don't know if I have this right. Let me see. We're just gonna ask, I'm gonna ask Gemini here. I love this. This spreadsheet is a calculator where we can help determine the amount of savings somebody could have by hiring a virtual maintenance coordinator and then shifting work from a national contractor who marks up a local contractor's invoice to actually hiring local contractors. So right now, row or cell E2 is showing a dollar amount of adding 12.5% markup to a $350 invoice. What I want that to do instead is be inclusive. If you multiplied a invoice by 12.5% in order to get 350, can you write me that formula and fill in this cell? Let's see if Gemini can do this. That was kind of messy the way that I explained it, but let's see. All right, so it's gonna figure this out and change my formula. Oh, it did it. Cool. All right. So I was just multiplying and it says it's doing yeah, cool. All right. So it actually reduced this from like 10,000. That was perfect. Beautiful. All right. So if you have 250 work orders a month at $350 and your contractor was marking up their local vendors invoices by 12.5%, you'd be spending 87,500 a month. Your
Is
total
that
markup that you'd be
87,000
paying
in
a
markup
month.
or
What's that?
that's 87,000 in markup or that's 87,000 total?
That's 87,000 total.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
The marked up portion of that is $9,722.22.
Roughly 2.5 VMCs. Roughly 2.5 VMCs.
Well,
Which
but one VMC could probably handle 250 work
all
orders a
that.
month, right?
Oh, easily.
Easy.
Easily.
So, all right. So, one VMC that costs $3,600, if you hired a VMC for $3,600
And all they did was local
and
vendors.
you gave them the job to transfer 250 work orders a month from nationals to self-performers, and then also gave them the job later to manage those people, you would save $6,122.22 a month. That's okay, but this is average invoice 350, estimated markup 12.5%. Okay.
Yeah, because don't
So
forget
let's
how
say
many of
your
those quotes are
numbers,
coming
which
through
I'm doing
for
conservative. But let's just say you say this is realistic, $500 average invoice and 25% markup. Okay, that's what you say. Is that
yeah.
right?
I was saying at least 25% markup for sure.
Okay, so that's 250 work orders a month times $500 average invoice is basically, gross spending of 125,000, right? Of that 125,000, 25 grand's markup. It still only takes one VMC to manage those 250 work orders, and you'd be saving $21,400 if you paid $3,600 to hire a VMC. That's crazy. That's $250,000 a year.
That is
So
insane.
you're saying, this is the argument you're making, Justin. You're saying forget getting super sophisticated and creating all kinds of scorecards to manage contractors and
So you
see
can judge a
who
contractor
has
that
better
can
first
walk at
time
any
fix,
moment.
blah, blah, blah. Instead, hire Jim, and Jim is going to, step one, find a trade where you have a high degree of national providers. and he's going to find local providers to do the work instead. And then once he builds out that network, he's going to manage all those people, and he's going to do the work of calling them every day, getting the updates every day. He's going to do the work of submitting their invoices into your software, all the stuff that these guys are not set up to do. And, you know, you're going to save anywhere from whatever that first number I said, you know, $6,000 a month to $21,000 a month by doing this, depending on what your average invoices are. That's what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm also willing to bet that the folks right now, okay, that have a facilities maintenance department are using national providers. Not only are you paying the business, because think about it, the business has to make money. Then the person that they hire has to make money. Okay. Then the person who's doing the work has to make money. And then the work has to be done. Right? So this is how I say it. The cheapest way, the cheapest way to run a facility maintenance department would probably be hiring your own technicians, controlling their hours, having SOPs and standing operating procedures for those technicians on how they're going to do stuff. They're going to put it into the system. They're going to check in and out. They're going to send all of their credit card statement information, right? Even then, we all know there's a lot of problems with that, which is why we outsource, right? Or, okay, you're going to have a bunch of national providers that you're having to contact every single day and say, hey, where are we at with this? Okay. Or you could take it to the level in which you're having the problem, right? The coordinator level. We're having a problem with us doing the work, us, the coordinators and managers and facilities leaders doing the work, getting the information. Okay. So we need to create a system in which helps us get that information and helps us get the work done. And with the VMC, you can absolutely do that. I am willing to bet that even with national providers, there is not a single facility maintenance department that can tell me that all of their vendors update the system, even the ones that have national providers. I'm literally willing to stake my reputation. If somebody can tell me I have a facility maintenance department and all my contractors and all my national providers all update the system, they all do it. They don't. And they've never for years. And we keep redesigning CMMS and we keep redesigning our procedures and policies and the way we want to do things geared around, we're going to get the vendors to do it. No, you're not. You're not. But what you do have control is of your coordinators. Okay. So you need to create things around your coordinators to help get this information. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Even in our own CMMS software, we have a thing, no notes every day. The reason why that's a big thing is you have to touch every work order every day. You cannot rely on your vendors that are out there most of the time doing the work, right? You're either relying on a national provider to give you that information, which newsflash, most of them are using local contractors. So they don't have the information either. You're telephoning down the line. Okay. Yeah. So so let's skip the middleman. Let's use our local people. Let's get them out in the field doing the work because they're doing the work anyways. And let's create a system internally that allows us to follow up with them in an appropriate manner. Each vendor is slightly different, but we create a system with our team that does follow up. You're not going to break away from that manual cycle. And that's why I tell a lot of people, it sounds salesy because it is, but that's why the VMC program works. We create you time to make decisions that need to be made while our VMCs follow up with our contractors so that we can get the information we need so that you can make that decision. So, but yeah, I'm off my soapbox, but I am willing to stake my reputation on it. If there's anybody out there who was like, no, Justin, my 32 contractors are amazing. Dude, I want to be wrong, but we've been at it now for a decade. And the one thing that hasn't changed is I still don't have the information from my vendors. Newsflash, got to get it. Create your stuff. And so you're not going to change that. So start creating your training. And even if you don't use a VMC, think about how you bring on your next facilities coordinator to get that information and get them to understand they have to create relationships. They have to know these people because that's how you get information fast. Having a good facility maintenance coordinator that is good with their vendors, good at building relationships, and squeaky wheel gets the grease. You're going to have to pick up the phone and call. One thing that will not change, and Scott, stop me if I'm wrong. I know you've been in the industry a little bit longer than I have, but in all the years I'm still calling contractors. This morning, still calling contractors. Need this information. I mean, can't run away from it. Even as a COO, I'm still not afraid to pick up a phone and call a contractor to get information we need. We need it. Gotta have it.
Why are you calling contractors?
I like to. So much fun.
For who are you doing this for?
Training people. dude, it's still, that's what I said. It never leaves you. It never leaves you. It really is. And I know that's kind of like nerdy to say, but like, I like it. I mean, I wouldn't be in
I get
facilities still
that.
if I didn't like it. But like sometimes I'm like,
I
hey man,
like that.
because then I'm like, do you see what I did there? Yeah, write that down. Like, do you see what I did? Because like and what do I do? Hey, Brian, what's up, bud? Oh man, yeah, that weather out there, am I right? Cool, cool, cool. So look, man, I'm trying to get some information. We've been struggling to get it. Can you help? I don't know if you're the guy. Maybe you know the guy. Somebody's got to know the person. But can you help me get the, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you need to be building with your team. We got to stop thinking the software is going to do it for us or like, there's some things that software can do. Make a follow-up call, send a follow-up email. Great. You still need somebody to pick up the phone and call that vendor because they're
All
the
right,
one
it's
doing the
fresh in
work.
your mind. It's fresh in
Yeah.
your mind. What's the process for calling a contractor, getting information out of them? You know, they're busy. They don't want to talk to you, but you've got to build a rapport and do this every single day, get the info you need, and also keep them from, not liking you.
Yeah. And I mean, and it might sound cliche, right? And maybe empathy isn't the word to use. Maybe there's like a cooler word that I don't know. But anyways, empathy is like, understanding what they're going on the other side. I'm going to call Steve's Electric, right? I'm going to call Steve's Electric and I'm going to look up, oh, Steve's Electric. He's in New England. What's the weather? It's 7. All right. I'm call Steve's Electric. It's 7 degrees. Okay. It's 9:30. He's either on a job or standing at the electrical supply store getting supplies, right? So we're calling Steve. Steve, what's going on? Hey, I'm busy. Don't worry about it. Look, I have a few questions about some work orders. Tell me what a good time is and I'll call you back. Call him back at that time. Hey, I'm still busy. No problem, Steve. When do you leave to go home? I need to get some updates on some tickets. It's about empathy, understanding, right? Now when you call, Steve's like, oh shit, all right, let me get this for you. I'm going to get this for you because this is your 3rd time calling. You've been really cool. You're not demanding. You're not like, hello, this is Rebecca from Restaurant Depot. And I'm trying to figure out where we're at with this stuff. Like, it's not, no one wants to talk to somebody who either sounds like a recording or like, it really takes somebody being personal. You are calling a contractor. That is somebody who's physically doing the work. I don't care if it's in Canada, the Philippines, the United States, all contractors are generally the same. They're out there in it, in the cold, the wet, the rain. They're rough and tough, rough around the edges, right? Because they're manual labor. It takes a certain kind of person to want to do manual labor every day, right? So keep all of those things in mind. You're calling from behind the desk in the warmth. It's easy to have an attitude from behind the desk in the warmth and demand information. I need, right? Or you can call with some empathy and be like, it's freezing out there. I get it. It's crazy cold out there. Hey, when you have a second and you're in your truck warming up, can you call me? Because I really need to know what's going on with this ticket. Right? Or, hey, man, I understand it's raining like cats and dogs there. Hey, when you get out of the rain for a minute, I need to know what's going on with this ticket. Don't worry about remember to call me back. I'll call you back. That's a good one I like to use all the time. Hey, I'll try to remember when. Don't worry about it. What time are you getting your truck? 4? Awesome. I'm making a reminder. I'll call you right then and there. Right? It doesn't mean you're going to get the answer on the first try, but I guarantee if you do nice things like that first, second time, by the 3rd or 4th call, you're getting that information. And then every time they see your name come across that screen, they know it's nice Justin, nice manager, nice facilities coordinator on the other end, just trying to get an update on things. That's where I feel the focus should be. And that's why I say personality is a lot when you're hiring a coordinator. I could teach them the policies, procedures, what a fire alarm is. I mean, we could Google all that and we could do all that. We could show them videos. We could do all that. I cannot teach somebody to be a good person. That's very, very tough. And so again, it's at the coordinator level. It's where I feel like you're going to find your best vendor compliance as well. It's just the way I've done it. And it's always worked. I mean, I've never had an issue with getting information from people. I make friends with all these vendors, and that's why I'm able to get it done better. And when I think about training the people I'm currently hiring, those are the things I'm trying to instill in them. What makes us successful is instilling the idea that you're talking to a contractor. Hey, if you have trouble, call me. Let's do this together so I can teach you. I mean, it's like the Chick-fil-A thing. Like, do you know what I mean? It's my job in creating a good facility maintenance department and creating top tier coordinators is making sure that they don't forget those things. That's the crucial part. Like the personality of the person you're asking to do it. You're not going to change the vendor. You could get mad at a vendor and switch, but guess what? The next one, the third one, your primary, tertiary, secondary, at some point, you're going to have this problem. So the key is to create an environment with your coordinators where they're have empathy for what's going on. They're doing a little research before they call. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Make sure if they say they're going to call back at 4, they call back at 4. As long as they hold a vendor accountable, they will be accountable. And we've proved it. One of our customers, one of the things he says is we hold our vendors accountable in a way that they've never been held accountable before. We're making less phone calls because we held them accountable and they're our friends. You could be held accountable. Like, who wants to be a bad friend? Nobody wants to be a bad friend, right? So make them your friend so they want to perform. They want to give you your answers. They want to do a good job. And we can get into some other things that have to do with that, like paying on time and all that other stuff. But the core is treat your vendors good if you want to get that information quickly. And it starts with what you tell your coordinators and how you tell your coordinators to handle them. I'm learning stuff. I'm learning, every day. That's what I love about this job is every day I come in and I learn something about myself that I'm like, oh, I remember doing that. And now it's coming in handy. Do you know what I mean? So every day there's things I do not thinking or things I've done in the past, not thinking that led up to making something you're like, that wasn't just a thing I did. That's like the way it needs to be done. And I'm learning that too, as we grow. Even though we're doing the show, we're not sitting here telling you guys we're industry experts. Don't listen to nobody else in the industry. If you're not talking to me or Scott or FM Dashboard, you're nothing. We're not saying that. What we're telling you guys is, what we're giving you guys is insight to the things that has worked for us over the past decade that we've learned and we've trained and taught. People need to know about this. This is the way it needs to be done. This is a good way for it to be done. It's not the way, it's not the only way, but we firmly believe that, it's worked for us for a very long time. We're trying to share that information with everybody. Do with it as you will. I'm seeing this now too over the past 4 years, right? When you're like, hey, this is what I kind of think, but come up with something. It's almost like something in them, they feel like they have to perform it. Because not only are they coming up with it, but then well, now I got to do it. So I got to come up with something I know I can do. And then I almost feel like it creates the obligation to perform because they have the freedom to be like, this is your idea. You own it. We're not just cool idea. They're great ideas. And we let them know it. We tell them, this is a great idea. This is fantastic. This is awesome. You did this this is crazy. I mean, I'm seeing it right now, right? I'm telling Jamie, because she's on board dealing with resort lifestyle communities who doesn't really have processes. They don't even know what they want, which is why they chose us, because they know that we're going to help them do that. And I said, Jamie, how should we do this? What do you think? I have some ideas. Here's the things I want to capture. Here's the information we need, but how should this look? 2 hours later, I get this spreadsheet that's could run a facility maintenance program. And it's way above and beyond what I asked for. It's amazing. I mean, obviously that comes with how we pick our people, but I also believe it comes with how we delegate to our people. Are we demanding?
100%.
Not to say that there needs to be left and right limitations. When we see something, we got to be like, whoa, that's going down. No, we don't want to go down that way. Everything else is great. But let's not go down that way. Right? It's still our responsibility to be like, don't go, keep them. But as long as we're here and here, everything in between is theirs and they own it because it's theirs. They created it. They have ownership over it. It also shows we're not here to replace you. We want you to own this because we want you to be the one that does it for a long period of time. And that's just what I've noticed, especially dealing with VMCs and stuff over the past 3 years, 4 years that we've been kind of started doing this whole thing, is when you really allow somebody to have ownership over something, whether it's their, how they come up with something. There's a creative way to do it where you still have control of the outcome of what you want.